Looking at Michael Chiesa, last three fights, three losses on a three-fight losing streak, and it seemed like his body language. His body language, especially in the last fight and the Kevin Holland fight, was very strange and seemed to be done. That's what it seemed like. He seemed like he was just totally disappointed in his performance. Just the shot in the cage right after the fight, while Kevin Holland was celebrating, he looked distraught. He looked like he was looking for his tape, for his gloves to take off his gloves and be done fighting. It's 2023. He's had three fights. He's had four fights in the last 4 years, um, and three of those were in 2021. So since 2021, he's only fought one time. 2021, he fought Vicente Luque, lost in the first round by submission. Uh, Next fight in 2021 against Sean Brady, and Sean Brady just big body, man, just massive um, strength advantage. And once he was able to get his hands on him, it wasn't much Chiesa could do. It wasn't much that he provided in a sense of a threat to Sean Bradley. So he was able to walk through him, um, get his hands on him, and once he got his hands on him, he was able to control him. The second and third round weren't very competitive. Sean Brady really dominated that fight. And then against Kevin Holland, so he didn't fight since 2021. 2023, last year in July, he fought Kevin Holland, and he was biting on everything. Kevin Holland was just stalking him, chasing him down, right arm back, ready to throw that shot. And it seemed like Chiesa was going for any advance that Kevin Holland made. He was flinching, he was biting on everything. And once Kevin Holland was able to get that choke and hit it in the first round, Chiesa just looked distraught. He looked distraught by his performance. He didn't seem too happy. And he's so good at his job working for the UFC and speaking and speaking about the fight game. He's so good at his job, and to see him fight and look unimpressive is tough to watch sometimes. Um, it's going against Tony Ferguson, who's on a 7-fight losing streak, and I know there's a lot constantly made about the UFC and how they treat their fighters and fighter pay and those type of conversations. And I'm very much in agreement with some of those conversations. But to continue to give Tony Ferguson these opportunities with he makes a pretty good amount of money. To show up and fight, he gets paid a pretty hefty fee. I would say. Especially at this point, coming off 7 losses, to be able to give that money to somebody, I think it's commendable. I think it's commendable. So Tony Ferguson, last 3 fights, he lost to Nate Diaz. It's a very weird circumstance going into that fight. Everything got changed the last minute because of Hamzat's weight issue, and he moved into a 5-round fight with Nate Diaz, and he ended up losing in the 4th round of that fight. Bobby Green was pretty much, getting beat up by Bobby Green, and speed advantage. It's just a speed advantage for Bobby, and Bobby was able to finish him at the very, very end of that fight. And then Paddy Pimblett in December 2023, caught him with a leg kick in the first round. I thought it was going to end in the first, but he was able to survive. Man, you got to give Tony his flowers. He's one of the toughest guys ever to come through this organization. He's continuing to put it all on the line. And he's willing to go out there and down the shield. He's going to go out there and he's going to fight. But he was able to make that fight, or to get that fight to the distance. He ended up losing to Paddy. Paddy had to resort to taking him down in the second and third round, and he didn't want to really stand with him too much at that point, which was just for what it's worth right now is an impressive performance. In this fight is definitely on this card to bring some name recognition, to bring some value to the card, to just prop up, to add a little more juice to this card based on name value only. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. It should be the end of these guys' career. So I to say that about Michael Chiesa, but I just think he's so good at his other job. But in this situation, I think loser has to go. This would be their last fight, and I think it should be Tony Ferguson.